What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hasan Piker, and this is the HASAN broadcast coming to you live from sunny California, Los Angeles. Folks, we're live, but I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one, because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is a Thursday. It's Thirsty Thursday. Stay hydrated, ladies and gentlemen. The prodigal son returns Thursday, March 26, 2026. We're live. 72 degrees and sunny here in Los Angeles, California, on stolen Tongva territory. And I hope everyone's having a fantastic one. Pro-Israel influencers and AIPAC-backed politicians have now tweeted about Hasan over 300,000 times in the last week alone. That's more than they've mentioned the Epstein files, ICE, and the genocide in Gaza combined. Yeah, the Superman boss are in full display. On the information warfare front, this is yet another indication that Israel is like losing the battle. Like, can you imagine the lobby and all of its propaganda vehicles trying to take out a goddamn Twitch streamer? I mean, that's insane. Like, you're fighting the smallest battles you can at this point. It's unbelievable. I'm a fucking Twitch streamer, man. Like, think about that. Think about, like, these guys, they used to make boss calls, and they still do at a certain level, right? I never thought that I would see the day where like Hasan derangement syndrome would turn into a national, if not an international incident. It's crazy. I suspect this targeted campaign against Hasan is going to be a moment among many people remember as a part of AIPAC's fall and the end of the bipartisan consensus on Israel. They are full on, balls to the wall on this, and it will not matter. It won't work. Democrats, Republicans, journalists, influencers, there are so many people all committed to not just making Hasan anathema, but punishing anyone who has associated with him. This is the kind of thing that probably would have worked just 3 or 4 years ago. But the last few years have changed the way people think and act around Israel forever. Accusations of anti-Semitism are met with skepticism rather than implicit agreement. Calling Israel a terrorist state is no longer beyond the pale. If AIPAC and co., even when they put their whole weight into it, can't discredit a politics streamer, they can't get Democratic electeds, Schneider and Torres notwithstanding, to call him an anti-Semite. If they can't kick him out of polite company, boy, things are different. That's the other side of this as well, right? Like, because there is limited success to it. Not only are their targets diminishing in their influence, because I'm not that influential. I'm just a Twitch streamer. Like, I'm not saying that to be humble, like fake humble or whatever. At the end of the day, like, these guys used to take out politicians, and now they're trying to take out Twitch streamers. And it's crazy that they're so far not successful in doing so. They can't do this to like major celebrities any longer. They used to try to do this with like Bella Hadid, Mark Ruffalo, and the like. They've gone after now less influential targets. I would go so far as to say that in mainstream media, I'm nowhere near as influential as like a Mark Ruffalo is. And what's interesting about it is that it's not even working. I'm a fucking Twitch streamer. I'm not a real threat. They're trying to take out El Sayed by linking him with you, but it's not. The problem is it's not going to work. Right? The ADL's weaponization of liberal anti-racism rhetoric in service of a nation state is truly a masterclass, says Adam Johnson. Here they, 1, blame Piker for an attack he has zero connection with, 2, reinforce the discredited racist terror framework, and 3, traffic in shallow, mopey standpoint theory. ADL Michigan says, is deeply troubling to learn of proposed events at University of Michigan and MSU featuring Hasan Piker on April 7th. Even more concerning are reports that public officials intend to appear alongside him, an action that risks legitimizing hateful rhetoric. I think the real fear I should have is not fear of being deplatformed, but the real fear I should have is that they're trying to like instigate someone into taking physical action against me in public. I think that's what it is, or they're trying to like get someone who is a zealot to do something to me. That's what I worry about a little bit. ADL Michigan is deeply troubled by reports that Dr. Abdul El Sayed and other public officials plan to appear alongside Hasan Piker at upcoming rallies at the University of Michigan and Michigan State University. In the aftermath of the recent attack on the Jewish community in West Bloomfield, the community is experiencing heightened fear and vulnerability. When individuals express support for the Jewish community only to appear with voices that have amplified rhetoric aligned with a murderous anti-Semitic U.S.-designed terrorist organizations calling for violence against Jews, actions speak louder than words. None of these things are applicable to someone like myself, but they still say it regardless, right? The decision to appear with Piker is yet another example of the growing normalization of extreme anti-Zionism in mainstream spaces. It reinforces bigotry, conveys support for terror, and contributes to an environment where hate is more easily expressed and acted upon. ADL Michigan is actively working to address these concerns and to ensure that Jewish students feel safe, supported, and heard on their campuses. We urge all candidates, elected officials, and institutions to reject platforms and partnership that legitimize or elevate harmful or extremist views. The craziest blind spot for these institutions, by the way, unironically comes from the fact that they keep saying these are harmful and extremist views. Not only are they not harmful, like being against Israel, being against Zionism is not a harmful ideology. It's actually a humane opinion to have. But it's also certainly not extremist. Unless you personally believe that the overwhelming majority of American citizens are expressing a dangerous, harmful, extremist ideology. But yes, my name being Hasan and, you know, the candidate that I'm appearing alongside's name being Abdul El Sayed is a big part of the reason why they're doing this. I personally think it's not just to like incite stochastic terror against someone like myself, but I also do think, given that the last time they tried this, because I appear alongside many politicians, right? The only time where they chirp this hard is with someone like Zoran, Kwame Mamdani, or someone like Abdul El Sayed. So I think this is more so for electioneering purposes. I think they want to associate me with religious fundamentalist extremism of the Islamic variety. And then they also want to associate Muslim candidates with that as well, to fearmonger in a racially charged way, while simultaneously doing it from the perspective where they are the perceived victims, like utilizing standpoint theory while engaging in unlimited Islamophobia. Because the reality of the matter is, if you were to earnestly analyze the things that I'm saying, you would recognize that I have spent a good deal of time, hundreds of hours, constantly talking about the dangerous conflations between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism, constantly talking about the dangers that it presents for American Jews and Jews all around the world to constantly associate the state of Israel and its violent endeavors with Judaism. I make this separation all the time, and it's one that I am firmly committed to making. I will do it over and over again, regardless of what people say about me, regardless of the fact that they say, oh, you're doing too much throat clearing, or this is Jewish exceptionalism, or whatever the fuck people say. You know, Bill Maher says some of the grossest shit ever about Muslims, but I noticed no one criticized Josh Shapiro for going on a show. Well, ironically enough, Bill Maher also literally did say something more crazy than America Deserved 9/11. He literally sent something right after 9/11. He was canceled for it, but no one actually brings it up any longer because now he has the appropriate point of view. But yeah, I will say I'm pleasantly surprised with how much people have actually come to my defense, because I feel like in a different media landscape, in a different media environment, we would not have seen this many people, not just from my community in general, but from like people far outside of my community saying, yeah, we know what's going on here. This is a targeted way to harass a known prominent anti-Zionist and then associate him with anti-Semitism through manufactured outrage and smears. That I did not expect, I will be honest. So I'm pleasantly surprised about it. It's kind of funny because, like, the only time these institutions actually mention Nick Fuentes is never to directly attack Nick Fuentes. It's to say, I'm like Nick Fuentes, to directly attack me. That's what's so crazy to me, because like Nick Fuentes is actually an anti-Semite, right? There are real anti-Semites out there, and their prominence is growing. And yet, the only time that he ever gets a mention, because he's not seen as like a real threat, but the only time he ever gets a mention is when they're attacking me and then they're trying to say I'm an anti-Semite just like Nick Fuentes. It's very interesting. As I've said over and over again, the real reason why they do this, by the way, is because I'm not anti-Semitic. That's a big problem for them, because if I was anti-Semitic, then it's easy. It's like, see, every single hater of Israel is a Jew hater. That's the argument that they could easily craft. You probably already saw this. HASANABI had defending you on Cuba.
Why he was staying in a 5-star hotel.
Tourism is the lifeline for the Cuban economy as it stands currently. The government has very limited resources, and the American government makes it illegal for Americans to stay wherever they want when they're in Cuba. They have to stay in what they've declared as 5-star hotels.
It's actually the opposite, Hasan. This is the U.S. government's prohibited accommodations list while you're in Cuba. This list is all of the major hotels, because the U.S. government doesn't want Americans supporting the regime. They want you to stay in local places to support the local Cuban people. Look what's on here. Ibero Star Selection, and likely where he's staying, Gran Hotel Manzana Kempinski.
Let me get this straight. So Hasan Piker went to Cuba to deliver aid, and your takeaway was to speculate on what hotel he might have stayed in. If there are restrictions on where Americans can spend money in Cuba, Why would it make sense for him to stay somewhere he wasn't allowed to? Let's think that through for a second, please. The irony is not lost on me that your bio says you and your husband are proud Gusanos, so you are openly aligned with the politics that support US pressure on Cuba. But you're mad at someone who actually went there and brought aid. None of this even matters because you're literally just trying to discredit the fact that he was there helping people. And another thing I'll never understand is why people feel the need to point out things like how expensive his glasses are or how expensive his clothes are. I don't give a fuck if he's wearing a $6,000 pair of glasses. He still went to Cuba to deliver aid, and he still uses his platform to bring awareness to important issues. And then we have people like you who sit behind a screen and criticize everything he does while doing absolutely nothing yourself. Hasan Piker went to Cuba and helped people, and you made a video about a hotel.
Give you one guess who posted that first lady on their Instagram story. I mean, it could be a million people. Let's be real. All of which are increasingly less relevant than the next, right? All of the above. Real talk, man. You need to get better at winning. Brother, I don't give a shit about chirpers. If I cared about what people were saying and how they were actively trying to disparage everything I do, I would have fucking killed myself a long ass time ago. First of all, this is not about winning. It's about doing your very best to help people. That's number one. Number two, even from the point of view of like, if the victory condition for someone like myself is to reach broad awareness on key issues that I care about, then I mean, look at the issue of Palestine. If there wasn't broad salience on issues that I care about and my advocacy, we would not be receiving this amount of pushback, this amount of coordinated pushback. People who are actively trying to say like, oh, don't you dare go anywhere near Hasan, by people who are actively against the candidates that I'm aligning with as well. For example, with Abdul El-Sayed, there are so many people right now that are genuinely afraid or genuinely antagonistic to Abdul El-Sayed, that are trying to give him good advice on who he can and can't collaborate with. You don't want Abdul El-Sayed to win. So if I'm this terrifying figure, then isn't that better? You don't want him to win the primaries. So why are you giving him what you perceive as good advice? It doesn't make any sense, does it? Yeah, that's not good for your cause. Someone that hates your cause. It's always people who hate your cause that say, that's not good for your cause. Why should I listen to you? You don't fuck with me. You don't fuck with my values. You're antagonistic to them. Who cares? Calling it now. He's about to convert in disgust. 2 billion Muslims, yet Shia Muslims led by Iran are the only ones confronting Israel. Oh my God. He's going to go from Sunni Muslim to Shia Muslim. SNEAKO is about to go on a Shia arc. He's going to go around going, Ya Ali. He's been glazing Shias crazy recently. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's not wrong to do that. How can you not? Look at the Sunni Muslims in general, the Muslim world, the Islamic world, and the Sunni leadership. And then look at what the Shias have done. The only Sunnis in the axis of resistance against Israel and America are Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad and like the numerous groups within the Palestinian resistance. Look at the Sunni Arab leadership, bro. That's the Gulf states. Maybe Professor Chiang is right. There's going to be a Pax Islamica now. All Sunni opposition was already destroyed. Dum-dum, ex-Saddam. Come on, man. The only Sunni opposition that you can find is literally an American asset. That's crazy. An American asset that literally attacked Iran, waged war against Iran. And not only that, we're talking about a much broader thing other than the one Baathist, Saddam Hussein. Shia is what every hog thinks every Muslim is? No. Hogs think every Muslim is a Salafist or like Wahhabist Islam. Hogs think every Muslim is ISIS. They don't make a distinction between, because they're fucking stupid. They don't make a distinction between like the IRGC, the Iranians, Al-Qaeda and Al-Nusra and Al-Shabaab, ISIS, ISIL, ISIS-K. There are so many distinctions. Don't forget our GOAT Gaddafi. He was right, but too early on multipolarity and undoing the petrodollar. Yeah, I mean, he was a little crazy too.